Welcome to the show where I take a look at someone's personal finances, see where they can improve upon a bad situation, or meet the financial goals that they're trying to achieve. Make sure you're subscribed as one of the first 50,000 subscribers here will win $1,000. With that, my name is Caleb Hammer. Today we are meeting with Mitch. Mitch, how old are you and where are you based out of?
I am 22 and I am based out of Toledo, Ohio.
What do you do for a living or academically right now? What's your life situation?
Well, right now so I own and operate my own house painting company, and then I'm also a personal trainer on the side. Right now, I'm mostly focused on the house painting and handyman side of my business because there's so much more money there.
Hmm. And are you in school right now as well?
No, I graduated in early May, and then I applied to grad school because I plan on going back to school to be a physical therapist. Um, and I'm waiting to hear back from Toledo. I already got accepted into Bowling Green's, but uh, Bowling Green's my number two because they're a lot more expensive. So
Okay, so grad school definitely is the plan then.
yeah, absolutely.
And what did you graduate with your undergrad?
Exercise science.
Okay, very cool. Now, what are you bringing in on a monthly, just an average on a monthly basis with these two ventures that you're working on?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I have no idea. Typically, I shoot for like $6,000 to $8,000 a month.
Six to $8,000 a month. You shoot for that. Now, how often do you hit that?
I'm typically closer to the eight, so
You say that again?
I'm typically closer to. Or I'm usually around $8,000 a month. Bad month, 6,000.
We'll meet in the middle and say 7,000 on an average then, just to be a little more conservative. Now, that's pre-taxes, correct?
Yeah, it's for taxes. My dog decided to join, I guess.
Are you setting 30% aside?
I I've basically just been saving everything. Dog, get off the table. Sorry.
So you've been saving everything. So you haven't specifically been putting 30% aside, but you do have money saved from this income that's been coming in.
Yeah, right now I've got about $17,000 in my bank account, and then I still have to collect on about 12-ish thousand dollars.
Now, $84,000 a year on average is, an incredible start for someone at 22. Why do you want to go back to school instead of further building out these businesses?
So, I mean, I thought about it. My parents were telling me that I should, and part of me really wanted to, but it's just I have a hard time seeing myself wanting to do this for the next 20 years. And I have a business model in my brain that I like a lot more with physical therapy that I think would be a lot more enjoyable for me long term. And with enjoyment usually comes.
Okay, well, you had me, and then, you didn't have me, and then you had me. So, I was gonna say originally, yeah, the American parents, they're always like pro college, pro college. That's just like our culture and everything, whether it's correct or wrong in your situation. And I would say if you liked what we're doing, then that is wrong in this situation to just go back and instead of building this further out. But if this is something you don't even see yourself doing for the next 20 years, and that would just be in your 40s, young 40s, then of course this isn't something that we would want to fully buckle down in pursuing if you don't feel that passion. So that kind of makes sense. Now, describe your current state of your financial situation and what I might be able to help with.
So right now, it's organization is really the big thing that I need help with, and then just like if you have some understanding of tax code, because I am like completely pretty well lost, not entirely lost, but like. And then with grad school, the real thing I'm trying to decide is what do I do with the money that I have in the next year or two, essentially. Um, because essentially my options are going to be, do I take out loans to pay for grad school, or do I just keep saving? Because I do have current loans from my undergraduate. Um, So that's kind of the part that I'm not sure on.
Yeah. Well, for the taxes, well, when this money comes in general, take 30% of it each time, put it in a separate account, let it just sit there. And then with the amount of money that you're bringing in for these side hustles that you're just doing yourself, I think with the total amount you're bringing in, it's worth you sitting down with like a local CPA on an annual basis and then just, paying whatever that fee is to get them to do that taxes for you. Or you could go through the whole, self-filing if you really want to, but I think it'd be easier for someone in your position, especially with two side ventures, get that with a CPA. And I think that'd be good. But 30% setting aside, putting in like a high yields every year. And that's pretty much it. Really nothing too crazy there. It's just the discipline of remembering to do that every time. It's nice to see that full $7,000 come in, but then you just have to remember that 30% of it doesn't really exist.
Yeah, for sure.
And then when,
Like with tax credits and deductions for business expenses, that's the thing that I feel like that's why I haven't really set anything aside, and I've just decided to save because I'm like I don't know what that tax bill is going to look like at all.
sure, sure. Well, 30% is a safe one, but of course, definitely make sure you're being very organized. And this is something that I've recently had to do more than I have in the past because this is, my full-time business now. Make sure you're very well organized in some kind of accounting software, understanding the expenses, making sure there are expenses from the business and not just personal, and really understanding, what the gross income is, what your profits are. And then again, it will help sitting down with a CPA. They will help you try to get out of as many taxes as possible, deduct as much as you can, but make sure you're leaving the best paper trail possible to help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're just saving everything in one account, and I don't know if you're using like a separate business account, I don't know if you've formed any kind of LLC. I don't know where you are in this situation. A lot of that depends. What is this? Is this just money coming into you?
Yeah, it's a sole proprietorship, which I didn't really realize that I should be setting up like an LLC until it was like, August. And at that point, I had already made a lot of the income I was going to make for the year. And I was like, well,
it depends. If this is just something you're doing for a year, 2 years, then maybe it doesn't make the most sense to do that. But if this is something you were going to do, which again, it doesn't sound like full time, then yeah, of course, that would be something we would probably want to do. But you're probably going to have to pay a little more in taxes because of that. And you won't be able to deduct as many expenses.
see. Yeah, and the other thing was like I'll probably keep doing it through grad school and just work like 10 hours a week just to help pay for it.
Yeah. What are these student loans that you already owe?
So I have a federal student loan, which is 6,500. And then I have a private student loan that is 9,000.
Duh. Why so much more private? Then do your parents just make good money?
My parents, yeah, right. Once I decided to go to college, so my mom historically had been work from home. And then basically once I started, once I got old enough to go out to school, she went out and got a job. So then it bumped their tax bracket up to the point where it was like, yeah, I'm not gonna get anything from a school help wise, really.
Did you send me these loans?
I didn't, but
Yeah. Okay. Tell me the interest. Tell me the interest on this private.
the private's 7%.
Okay. What's grad school at your dream school, which is Toledo Rockets? Gross.
Toledo was not, it wasn't my dream school. It was the school that gave me the most money.
Oh, I thought for grad school, wasn't it? Isn't it your number one pick?
Yeah, it's my number one for grad school, but that also is mostly a money thing. And because I have a house that's like, I can see the campus from my backyard.
Okay. The Rockets, go Broncos. Tell me how much grad school is going to cost there.
So for Toledo, I think the number is 58,000. And that's over just under 3 years.
Yeah.
And then if I went to the school I already got accepted into, which is Bowling Green, it's $90,000, but it's 2 years. So it kind of makes up for it by being 2 semesters shorter, but you know,
What do you think the likelihood is that you're getting accepted into Toledo?
what are my odds?
Yeah.
Probably like 80 to 90%.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So my GPA was just above their average acceptance. And then I have a lot of extracurricular stuff from when I was an undergrad, along with, you know, I would like to think that owning a business is something that they would think is, good when it comes to an application.
Sure. All right, let's look through the things you sent me. Your credit score is okay. Oh, this is hard. The way this document. Oh, these are going to be really low pixelated on the screen. I apologize, audience. Ooh, I can barely read them. We are definitely having some fun, like Little Caesars and Domino's. We're having lots of that. Good amount of gas, Little Caesars. But, it's not a crazy amount, which is good. Balance $581 on credit card. You pay this off every time?
Yeah.
Okay, $654 of purchases. There were things like insurance as well.
Yeah. And then my mom wanted me to, so I just bought a house like 2 months ago.
You bought a house?
Yeah, I bought a house.
All right. We'll loop back around.
Hilarious. What?
We'll loop back around to that. Balance summary in your U.S. checking. Ending balance. Oh, you must have transferred money out because September 27,000, then October 6,000. October.
Yeah, I think that was the house.
Oh, dang it. I would not have. Okay. Well,
It's back up to 17 though. So
new charges on this Costco card, $1,000. It's a good amount. And Five Guys, Little Caesars. You like that, Little Caesars? Lots of Home Depot. That's probably for house stuff and Domino's. And Home Depot.
House and business. It's a mix of both, but
yeah, that's a lot of Home Depot. That's why I wish you could deduct those taxes a little better. And then, dang. Yeah, some Venmos that you're sending out, and this is such a pain in the butt to view, but that's okay. So is that everything then?
that was all my financial transactions for that month.
What's in your checking account right now?
My checking account. Right now, I have, I think, 16,000 in my checking account and 1,000 in my savings. Did I say that right?
I don't think you should have gotten a house. Yeah, and I love houses. I love houses more than you could even imagine.
Well, yeah, it might have been a little bit early, but
where else is there money?
yeah, so $22,000 in my checking and then 1,000 in my savings.
Okay.
And then I'm also owed about $12,000.
You're owed back 12,000 from what? From who? From why?
That is for jobs that are either completed, like finished up this week, and it's just, it takes a little bit of time to actually like send out the invoices. And
so this is just your pay. That's just your pay.
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, then I'm not gonna think about that thing because we got you your average. Whew. Okay. Any other debts? Car, vehicle, personal loans?
No, I own both my cars. So
both your cars. Okay. What are the two cars you own?
I own a 2011 Ford Fusion and then a 2007 Ford Econoline, which is a work van.
Okay. Why do you feel like you need two instead of just driving your work van?
Oh, the work van was, so I got it for $2,000 last year. The thing's a gas guzzler. Like it gets like 6 miles per gallon. So I pretty much only use it to transport big equipment.
Yeah. What year was the Ford Fusion?
2011.
All right, it's probably worth about $6,500.
Yeah, probably. I mean, probably not necessarily, but it's.
What do you mean? Is it beat up?
Oh yeah, it's been beat up. It's so a little bit of backstory. I've had that car since I was 16. So I bought it for $4,500, and I guess that'd be 2016. It had 50,000 miles on it. because it was a salvage title car. And then I've just been driving it ever since. I think it right now is 120-ish thousand miles on it, but like, because it was salvage title, there was some damage to the front bumper. There was, a couple things replaced. Just generally, like it's a beater.
With the average pay of a physical therapist, I mean, yes, technically compared to your average, you'll probably make a little more than right now, but I think if you scale this business, you'd make so much more money. But again, if it's not what you want to do, I don't want anyone to be forced to do something.
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I thought about it, and actually that was my plan after I graduated, because I knew the money was there, and then I tried to scale it up, and I basically just found out that it's really hard to train people in painting it, like, because I mostly focus on high-end clients that want stuff done really well. And
Yeah.
it's really hard to take guys without like 3 to 4 years of experience onto job sites like that.
All right. You ready?
Yeah.
This is what I would do, not official financial advice. If I were in your shoes, if I was looking at this right now, this is exactly what I would do. $22,000 in checking account. I would pay off my private student loans today, because it makes no mathematical sense to ever be paying 7% interest on something right now. That makes no sense.
So can I explain why I have accepted that?
You can try.
So it's a subsidized student loan. The grace period on it just ended this month. And then because this is a local loan, it's not through a big bank. It's like a trust fund that someone left behind, essentially. And I was originally planning on just never paying any interest on it, just paying it off immediately. And then I was talking to my advisor, and basically what he told me is that if I get into grad school and get accepted, then the interest stops accruing and payments stop. So basically, I just decided that I'm going to pay the minimum for like the next 5 months, and then it would be on pause for 3 years. And I figured I'd be better off taking the money in my, yeah.
Well, I see what you're saying. Unfortunately, your financial advisor doesn't know the totality of what I would do. So, no, I would pay that off right now, because things are about to change more than that timeline they were thinking. Because you are not going to borrow to go to grad school. That makes no sense. You're bringing in too much money right now. It doesn't make sense. You're going to sacrifice for a little bit. So you cut that $9,000 check today. Private student loans are gone. You have $13,000 sitting in your checking account, $1,000 in your savings. What is your mortgage payment on a monthly basis?
$550.
That's incredible. Okay. Wow. Ohio's cheap. So
It's just Toledo, Ohio specifically is cheap.
yeah, winter burr. So I would then take, of the $12,000 sitting in your checking account, I would take $9,000 of it, put it in your savings, then boom, you have an emergency fund. $10,000, never touch that. It doesn't go to anything. You never, ever, ever touch it unless it's an emergency. Then you have $3,000 in there. There's $12,000 coming in, and then there's the regular pay as well. So $15,000. What you're doing from there, we're not going to touch the federal student loans, because we don't know what's going to be happening with that. Payments were paused, extended to June, and then they still wouldn't start until 60 days after there. Supreme Court, very conservative Supreme Court. They're probably not going to uphold it. But if there's still no reason to pay for it right now, there's no reason to pay for it right now, and we'll address that when it happens. And even then, the interest rate are probably low enough where it doesn't make sense to pay more than the minimum monthly payments on that one specifically. So from here, we are definitely waiting to get accepted into the Toledo grad school, because it makes more financial sense. Even if it's longer, it makes way more financial sense, $58,000 a year. What you're going to do from now, again, if I were in shoes, what I would do is I would work these two side hustles that you're trying to do as much as possible. You're not going to spend a single cent on any kind of fun, on any kind of whatevers that isn't just paying for gas to get there and back, paying for food, paying for your mortgage, paying for insurance, blah, 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 necessities to keep you alive. And if you truly bring on average, $7,000 a year or $7,000 a month in less than a year, even post taxes, you should have enough set aside to fully cash flow grad school. You might have to delay going to grad school by 1 year, but that is so worth it. So worth it. You will be one of the rare people in your graduating class graduating debt free, and then you at 26 or maybe 27, but probably 26, will all of a sudden be starting this path of just building all this awesome wealth while everyone else starts paying off all that crap debt.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not going to get good federal subsidized student loans for that grad school, probably, I would doubt.
I wouldn't think so, no. Well, so that's, and I guess you're saying take a year off.
Take a year off and grind your ass off. You just go hard. You go crazy. But it is so worth it. 1 year versus paying back the loans 4 years.
Yeah. So you wouldn't, so here's what kind of what my plan was just to work 1 day a week while I'm in grad school.
If you are able to work 1 day a week in grad school and perfectly cash flow this without borrowing a single cent, okay. If you have to borrow any money, then no. I would rather just work a little up front and then truly just focus on grad school while you're in grad school and grind that out. I think that's more worth it. That would be better in my situation. I'm better in school if I don't have to focus on, well, crap, am I able to afford, my mortgage bill this month in, your situation specifically. So that's personally what I would do. If you're able to balance life well, do grad school successfully while working and pay for it completely without having to borrow a cent, that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
You think 1 day a week is going to do that? You think 1 day a week is going to perfectly cash flow it?
I think it will. Yeah. So the thing that I've kind of realized is that, so like painting is the lowest paying thing I do. And that's about $40 an hour. Typically, I get quite a few just little like odd jobs, handyman stuff where it's like closer to 60 to 80. So if I decrease the supply of my work and then I'm only taking on, let's say I take on 2 handyman things that take me 4 to 5 hours. I work really hard on, Saturday or Sunday. It's about $500 a week, and that should get it close.
Until you go back, I would try to stockpile as much money as possible, and that might be cutting out Little Caesars and Domino's as well.
Okay, so can I explain that too?
Okay.
So so I'm going to try, I guess. But so I am 6'3", 220, and
brag about it.
About 4 times a week, I burn through like 4,000 calories a day. It's really hard to eat 4,000 calories, just like in general, like inexpensively. I started eating like Little Caesars because it was cheaper than my current, it was cheaper to eat out at Little Caesars or Domino's once a day than it was to actually go to the grocery store and buy groceries.
All right. I'm slightly skeptical of the math, but if the math is truly real, then I wouldn't argue with it. I'm sure a frozen pizza has the same amount of calories for cheaper, but
it doesn't. So a frozen pizza is about half the calories.
If you're able to fully justify the math, then it always works. But I would just make sure we're actually doing the math instead of just looking for reasons to justify. And I love that crazy bread, so.
Yeah, so I always just get the same thing. It's just pepperoni pizza. 2,400 calories.
What I would do, no matter what, no matter the situation, there was a couple options with grad school. We're not borrowing money because there's no reason to. There's no reason to. We can talk about borrowing money if there was ever a reason to, but you have literally no reason to. So it's just off the table. But what I would 100% do today, there's no reason that the private student loan, $9,000, isn't paid off the moment I hang up this phone call. And then I'm putting $10,000 total in my savings and never touching it for an emergency fund. The fact that you own a home without an emergency fund, that's very sketchy. So we want to fix that immediately. Because homes like to be expensive. So.
Yeah, well, I also can. I right now I'm renovating it myself.
Okay, yeah. So just make sure emergency fund always. That business truck could break down. Both your cars could break down at the same exact time. Emergencies happen, so that's why we have them. But that is what I would do. I don't think it's an overly complicated situation, but definitely cash flow out college. Make sure you have that emergency fund. And don't listen to your stupid advisor, because they always advise people to go into debt. And I would not listen to them for one single second on money. 7% interest on a private student loans. And I understand the justification that you're talking about of it will not accrue interest while that you're going to grad school and that you only have to pay the minimum monthly payments until then. The fact is there's still time between grad school and it will be accruing interest. Do not lose that money. 7%, it's not mathematically justifiable. $9,000 is not a make or break for you, so pay it off today. That's stupid.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying even if it did pause while I was in grad school, it wouldn't make sense to, if the payment,
because there's still time from today to then that you'd be paying 7% interest, even with your minimum monthly payments, and almost none of it would be going to principal anyway, because interest is always up front.
Yeah.
So just pay it off.
Okay.
Any final thoughts?
No, that definitely helped with kind of organizing my thoughts. Helps me kind of think about what I should be doing.
It's never as fun seeing $9,000 taken away from your account to setting $10,000 away and then forgetting about it existing. That always sucks. It's much more fun to have a pile of money. And it's never as fun taking time off of trying to meet your academic goals by saving up money to pay for it. That's never as fun. But what I do promise you, out of all of these things, if we do what's a little less fun right now for the next few years, the rest of your life is going to be so much better compared to your peers.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been focusing on. Yeah. It's part of why I even took the painting, or why I'm still doing the painting stuff, is, it's like I've been offered jobs as personal trainers through gyms that pay me, half to a quarter as much, which would be way more fun. Like, oh wow, I get to do what I love. But it's like, if it can't at least match what I'm making in other places, it just, I don't think it's worth doing.
Hammer financial score for Mitch. He is doing well for his age. I mean, that's an objective fact. Private student loan, 7% interest. Haven't paid it off fully. Just having that in general, it's going to ding a point. Federal student loans, he barely has any, and I think those are fine. Just having the debt in general definitely weighs down a score. Buying a home, he may have rushed into it. We didn't talk about it too much, but that low mortgage, that's great, especially for his age. The side hustles that he's doing and building his business, he's obviously doing fantastic for 22. I mean, come on, he's bringing in all that money. Little nervous of the money he has not set aside for taxes. And actually, that didn't go into the discussion when we talked about what I would do with the money, because actually some of it is going to need to be set aside for taxes. So I hope you are watching this, Mitch. I'll probably send you an email as well on that. So it might change up. They might tweak some of the things, but the fact that it hasn't been setting aside a lot of it for taxes, and a lot of that money was used for the down payment and closing of this house, little yikes. So it's clear that we don't have like a concrete budget. We haven't had a fully concrete plan to pay for school, but I think we're more on that page now when it comes to paying for grad school. I think he's in a good position right now. It's just making the right sacrifices and the right financial choices to be on the other side of grad school and exit that in an incredible position, which I really think he can if he does essentially what we talked about today. For now, I think Mitch, Hammer financial score, 7 out of 10. You can easily get that to 10 out of 10 in just the next few years, and I look forward to talking to you in the future. Share this video with someone who you might think like it is. It really helps this channel grow, and feel free to follow me on all the socials. Thanks.